Russia continues to seize ground in Ukraine, pounding defenders into retreat and raising alarm across Kyiv and European capitals. President Trump prepares to host Vladimir Putin on U.S. soil, hoping for a constructive conversation. He called out Zelensky for ruling out territorial concessions, while Europe is feeling left out. Trump has assured calling European leaders after the high-stakes Alaska summit on Friday.
Russia's offensive is relentless. Towns fall, front lines vanish, and the thunder of artillery drowns hopes of reprieve. Beyond the front lines, Ukrainian cities also bear the brunt of a relentless Russian aerial barrage. Missiles, drones, and glide bombs rain death and destruction from the skies. As Moscow gains territory, Ukraine pushes back, its long-range drone strikes now striking deep inside Russia, aiming to disrupt supply chains and production hubs. Clearly, no side is holding it back. With the war grinding on, a major diplomatic move with a promise to halt the bloodshed. The icy cold land of Alaska, which is holding one of the most anticipated meetings in recent times. Donald Trump is poised to sit down with Putin alone. It would be a litmus test for the US president. A war he promised to end in a day continues to grind on as he completes 200 days in office.
I'm going to meet with him. We're going to see what the parameters are. I'm then going to call up President Zelensky and the European leaders right after the meeting, yeah. And I'm going to tell them what kind of a deal. I'm not going to make a deal. It's not up to me to make a deal. I think a deal should be made for both. I think Russia has to get back into building their country.
Europe has been left out once again. As Trump gears up to meet President Putin, there is a sense of fear and hope in European capitals.
For Poland, for our European partners, and hopefully for all of NATO, it must be obvious that state borders cannot be changed by force, and therefore Russia's war with Ukraine must not bring benefits to the aggressor.
We cannot accept that territorial issues between Russia and America are discussed or even decided over the heads of Europeans and Ukrainians. I assume that the American government sees it the same way.
As Europe is hoping for more cooperation, US Vice President J.D. Vance bluntly declared that America is done funding Ukraine's war, urging Europe to bear far more of the burden.
America, we're done with the funding of the Ukraine war business. We want to bring about a peaceful settlement to this thing. We want to stop the killing. But Americans, I think, are sick of continuing to send their money, their tax dollars to this particular conflict. But if the Europeans want to step up and actually buy the weapons from American producers, we're okay with that, but we're not going to fund it ourselves anymore.
Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky watches warily, warning that any compromise with the Kremlin could only encourage further aggression. The hour of reckoning nears. Will Trump persuade Putin to halt the bloodshed, or merely hand over swaths of Ukraine and force Kyiv to secure a hollow peace? Bureau Report, WION World This One.
Let's now talk to our correspondent, Susan Teherani, who's now joining us live from New York. Susan Teherani, good to see you. There's much anticipation towards this meeting between President Trump and President Putin. The world is waiting with bated breath. What are Americans saying about this highly anticipated meeting?
Yeah, as you mentioned, Eric, it's very highly anticipated. We heard President Trump talk about it during that press conference that he just had. There's a growing concern that Vladimir Putin is buying time and that he's not serious about some kind of peace deal. President Trump was asked this question and he said that he'll, quote unquote, know but by the first 2 minutes of meeting the Russian president whether or not he's serious about peace, but he believes that peace is within reach. And ultimately, Vladimir Putin and Volodymyr Zelensky of Ukraine will have to sit in a room either with or without him to resolve the issue. As for the American people, everyone is watching to see what happens during this high-stake meeting, considering the fact that, there is the issue of American weapons shipment to Ukraine. Now Europe is involved, but also just the fact that this war has been dragging on and the United States is in the middle. Americans are ultimately concerned not only about the tariffs that are going to be implemented on countries that are buying Russian oil, how that's going to affect them, and also against Russia as well. I mean, it's ultimately going to have a domino effect. So the concerns that the American public generally have will always go down and lead to their wallets and the economy. But nonetheless, there are very few people who don't want to see this bloodshed end.
All right. That is Susan Teherani. Susan Teherani, good to see you. We'll have to end it there.